What's bonking, guys? Today I am talking about Persona 5 Royal. You might recall this is something that I had mentioned on my channel in my first video, and I was wanting to talk about it, and I received 2 comments on my videos about Persona. One of them was on my last video, and one of them was on a video like it was either an ARC or a JoJo. I think it was a JoJo. Well, both of them were on JoJo videos, but one of them was like a few days ago. The other one was like a week ago. And that like kind of reminded me. I was like, oh yeah, I did want to talk about Persona. And I wasn't really sure what to make a video about because I'm kind of running out of JoJo ideas. I have 2 ideas I do want to make, but they're going to be larger videos. Like they're going to be much longer. And I don't really have the time right now. Plus I figure I would rather make that when I have more of an audience. And then ARC, I'm more than happy to make videos about, but I don't want my channel to be too ARC heavy. So I figured I'd go with Persona. So I'll be talking about that today. I am specifying that it's Royal because Royal is a little different from vanilla Persona 5, but you know, it's the same game. It's just there's add-ons, you know, there's a third semester, there's some new characters, and there's this thing called Showtimes. Like there's a few new features, but the story is generally the same minus the add-on on the third semester, which I stated, which is just like another chunk to the story after the end. So, but I figured I'd talk about the clips real quick. Well, not the clips, like the footage that you'll be seeing. So I cannot record the gameplay right now. It's locked. And my friend in my first video told me to get a capture card, and I just haven't gotten around to it, so I still can't do that, which is why I'm recording the Thieves' Den is what it's called, which is as far as I know, it's Persona 5 Royal exclusive. And so that's what you'll be seeing is that stuff. And so I figure I'll just get into explaining what Persona is. So it is my favorite video game personally. No, sorry, it's not my favorite. It's the best video game I've played, but my favorite is ARC. I love ARC. I think it's great. I also fucking hate ARC, and I think it's honestly kind of shit sometimes. Fuck ARC. But at the same time, I love ARC. It's my favorite game ever. And, but I do think that Persona's better. So, yeah. Basically, it's a type of game called a JRPG, or I believe that stands for Japanese Roleplay Game. And, basically, you are the main character. His name is Ren. I believe that's his canonical name. Or Joker, as his teammates call him. And no, that's not like Batman Joker. That's the like the wild card, the Joker, you know, of the deck. So that's why he's named that. And he does have an ability called the wild card. I'll get into that in a bit. So you play him, and basically you are the leader of the Phantom Thieves. That's how the game starts. Is you are escaping from a casino, and you get arrested, and you are being interrogated for being the leader of the Phantom Thieves. And that, that's where the game starts. And then this takes place in I think October, and then it rolls back to either it's late March or it's early April of the same year, where you were falsely accused of a crime, and so you were sent to Japan on parole. And basically you have to live there for a little bit, for a year. And you are basically playing out the events of you becoming a Phantom Thief. And, you're also a student at the same time. So the game is kind of there, and there's 2 distinct, not parts necessarily, but 2 distinct, I guess parts kind of fits. There's parts where you're a student, and there's parts where you're a Phantom Thief. So you play through them both, and I'll go into depth about each of them. I should explain that it took me 137, I think, hours to beat it my first time. And I didn't do everything. I didn't get a job, I didn't play the third semester, there were certain things I didn't do. My second time, I'm not sure how many hours I'm in now, I'd have to look. Actually, I could open it now, but it took me a lot of time to play it. So it's a game you can expect to invest a lot of time into, but I think it's well worth the play, personally. So that's a rough synopsis. I figure if you want to avoid spoilers, you might want to go now. I'm not going to go heavy into spoilers, but I will in the footage. You may have already seen some of them. I will be showing some of the characters that join later. So if you're worried about that, you know, you might want to be on your way, or maybe you just want to, like, I don't know, put the phone face down, or, like, you know, listen to what I'm saying without watching it. That's up to you. I won't name drop any of the characters except Ryuji, because he's the first one you meet, so that's not really spoiler, but the rest, I won't name drop, so that's up to you. But yeah, I figure I'll just kind of explain about Persona. So the first thing I should probably go into depth about is the, like, combat, like all that, the Phantom Thief half. So basically, the Phantom Thieves are, they're, I don't know how to describe it. I guess they're vigilantes. They are basically reforming society. So you use this thing called the metaverse. And, you know, you enter the metaverse, and basically you are interacting with people's hearts, or their cognitions, if you will. They're called palaces, and basically it is the manifestation of their distorted desires. And basically you are trying to fix these distorted desires. So, you know, that's what you're playing. Like the first villain, his name is Kamoshida. He's a corrupt teacher, and so you are trying to defeat him. Basically, you have to, like, go through his palace. It's in a dungeon style. Think of it like Zelda, like Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild, or, you know, Ocarina of Time. I haven't played the old games, but as far as I know, they have the same structure, where, like, you have to defeat those. Or like Pokemon. I'll reference Pokemon a lot in this video, but it's kind of like that too, where you have, like, the 8 gyms. Like, it works kind of similarly, except instead of, like, a friendly match, this is, like, you genuinely trying to, like, stop these people. So that's kind of how it works, and you have to defeat shadows in there, so I'll explain what those are. Shadows are, actually, I'm not fully sure what they're supposed to be, but they're like monsters, and you fight them with your personas. So personas, the best way I can describe them is they're like stands, if you've seen JoJo. Stands are the manifestation of your fighting spirit, or just, like, the way you see and interact with the world. And personas are, like, the manifestation of your, your spirit of rebellion. There you go. So, you know, it's like what you believe to be just, if you will, like your sense of justice. So everyone has a different appearance. Like, when they go to the metaverse, they get a unique outfit and they get their persona. And so you fight with your persona, or you can fight with your weapons. So each character has a gun, or I shouldn't say a gun, because one character has a slingshot, but everyone else has a gun of some kind. They're all different, though. Like Joker uses handguns, like a Glock. Ryuji uses a shotgun. There's a character that uses a grenade launcher. You know, they all have different weapons. And they all have different melee weapons, too. Like, Joker uses knives, Ryuji uses bats. There's a character with a whip. There's a character with a katana. There's a character with, like, brass knuckles. They all have different weapons. And they cannot use each other's. Like, Ryuji can't use a katana. He can only use his bats. But you can't get him, like, higher graded bats, like better weapons. So, yeah, there's that. Also, I just looked, and my second playthrough, I am in 100... Sorry, my nose is kind of stuffy. I am in 100... Okay, so it turns out it was 127 hours for my first playthrough, and I am now in 142? Yeah, 142 hours for my second playthrough. So I've moved faster, considering that I've completed more story now. So I definitely moved a little bit faster, but it's roughly the same amount of time. So yeah, just wanted to get that out there. But basically, you are using your personas to fight these shadows and to fight, like, the palace rulers. And how it works is, you know, as I said, like, you have your attacks you can do with your guns and your melee weapons. And then you can also attack with your personas. And so personas can use magic, which there's 8 elements. There's fire, there's ice, there's electric, there's wind, there's nuclear, there's psychokinesis, there's bless, and there's curse. So you can attack with any of those elements. And then there's also Almighty. Almighty works differently. Like, it doesn't have, like, resistances or anything. So this is kind of like Pokemon, like the combat system. It's turn-based, except you have 4 teammates, and each of them get a turn to attack, like, in a row. So you get to pick, like, what they do, or you can have them attack on their own, where they pick their own moves. And basically, like, you pick certain attacks, but there are, like, elemental, like, advantages. If an opponent is using a lot of wind skills, there's a solid chance that they might be weak to electric skills, for example. So that's how that works. Except Almighty cannot be resisted, it can't be deflected, it can't be blocked. As far as I know, I think it can be dodged, but I'm not fully sure. I don't remember about that. But Almighty you'll get later. Yeah, so Almighty's pretty cool. And yeah, so, some personas, well, personas always have different magic skills. Like your party members have one specific element. Like Ryuji only has electric. He can't use a wind skill unless you give him like an object, like an item that lets him use that. So, yeah, they all have that, and then they all have like physical attacks. So like Ryuji, he's especially a physical attacker. So you have certain physical attacks, and then you have like status moves or buff moves, all that. Kind of like with Pokemon, you also have moves, except you get 8 moves here instead of 4. And yeah, so you get to have, like whatever kind of moves you want. Well, not whatever moves, but the moves that the personas learn. And as I mentioned earlier, with Joker being the wild card, he is able, basically what that entails is he's able to capture enemy shadows and make them his persona. So then he can fuse those personas. He has one persona in the beginning, but then he can take others, and then he can like unlock more later. And you can fuse personas to make new ones, and they'll get new skills, they'll get new abilities, and all that. So that's pretty cool. And that's how you fight, is using your personas. So yeah, that's the main thing I was thinking. Another thing I just remembered is like you can also equip like items to your characters, like support skills. Like you can have certain ones that might like buff your attack or certain things like that. And you can give them like armor to like increase their defense or their evasion and certain things like that. So and like with items or like I mentioned, skills, like there are some skills your personas can learn that'll like buff you. Maybe it'll increase your stats, or maybe it'll decrease the enemy stats, or maybe it'll cure you of a status, or maybe it'll inflict a status on your opponent, or maybe it'll heal you or damage your opponent, certain things like that. And you can do the same thing with items too. There are some items with certain effects like that. So yeah, that's how combat works. My favorite part of the game personally is the social aspect. It's a thing called confidants, and basically you are a student when you're not in the metaverse, and that follows you as a student. As I said, like most days start out with you going to school. And then, maybe you have to answer certain questions, blah, blah, blah. Like there might be some interactions, but then school lets out and you can go do what you want. You can go into the metaverse if you want, to go to Mementos, which I won't spoil that, but it's like a palace, but a little different. Or you can go into a palace, or like you can go hang out with confidants, or like you can go to the gym, or like you can have a job, like you can go work out, or like you can go visit other places. Like there's all kinds of stories you can visit and other things you can do. Like you can go watch a movie and stuff. So, which like watching movies, playing video games, reading books, things like that will increase your social stats. So those are your charm, your guts, your knowledge, your proficiency, and your kindness. So you can increase those through various means. But basically confidants are the people that you'll meet in the city. So like your team members are your confidants as well. So like Ryuji has a confidant. And there's 23 confidants. I've completed them all, actually. It takes a lot of time and work, but I did it in my second playthrough. In my first one, I only completed like 7, but in my second playthrough, I got all 23 of them. And they all give you different skills. So each time you hang out with them, they'll give you different skills. Like you can hang out with them and it won't rank up all the time. Like it'll just be like a casual hangout. And when that happens, it'll just be like generic dialogue. But if you do rank them up, you'll have like a specific interaction with them. Like Ryuji, like he'll like shows you to the gym at one point and you like talk to him, and the characters go through character development and they grow, and like you help them kind of deal with their problems, and it gives you abilities, as I said. Like there's a teacher, like not the evil teacher, but there's a good teacher, and her confidant lets you slack off in class. So like you can study, which will like increase your stats, or you can read, which will again increase your stats, or you can make infiltration tools, which you can then use to like use in the metaverse, like lockpicks to open up chests, or other tools like that. So that's pretty cool. Or like there's a nurse who can sell you medicine to heal, or like a gun specialist who can like upgrade your weapons and sell you new weapons. And yeah, there's different confidants and they'll let you do certain things, and there's 10 ranks for each of them. Once you get them to rank 10, you unlock a special persona. And yeah, it kind of depends on the I'm on the confidant, but they get different skills and all that. So I think that's pretty fun personally. Something else I should mention, if you're interested in this, you can date characters. There's 23 confidants, 9 of them you can date. You can't date men, but you can date adult women. So there's that, if that's what you're into. But yeah, you cannot date men. So I do hear a lot of people talk about that. But yeah, there's 9 confidants you can date, and you have to get them to rank 10 to do that, and you have to pick certain, like, voice options. So if you fuck up, well, guess you don't get to date them. So, you know, maybe you see appeal in that feature, maybe not, but it's there. Yeah, that's all I can think of at the moment. Maybe something else will hit me, and maybe I'll put it in the, maybe I'll put, like, text boxes, but that's all I could think of. And yeah, hopefully you guys like Persona as much as I do. There's a lot to do in the game, that's for sure. And that's why I think it's the best game I've played. Atlus really thought of everything. They included like a lot of shit in that game. Like a lot. Like you can go to a maid cafe if you want. You can go play video games. Like you can, like you can go to the gym as I mentioned. You can work out at home. You can collect certain things from confidants to decorate your room. You make coffee. That's another thing. Sojiro, he's like your caretaker. He teaches you how to make coffee. So you can use coffee to replenish your HP and your SP, which SP is how you use magic skills. So you can like replenish that. Or going to the gym increases your HP and your SP. You can buy 3 different grades of protein, and those proteins will give you more HP and SP when you're working out. So there's certain cool things like that. Or, you know, as I said, like going to the movies, that'll increase your stats as well. So there's all kinds of cool things you can do. And yeah, I think it's a really fun game. I think they put a lot of work into it, and that's why I enjoy it as much as I do. And it's definitely much less angering than Ark. So, you know, there's that. But yeah, with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. And yeah, I'll see you guys with my next video. There's actually something I did forget to say, and that's that confidants are, they're all represented by a tarot card, if you know what those are. They use them in JoJo. Like, for example, Jotaro, he gets the star, so his stand is called Star Platinum. Or, like, Dio gets the world, so his stand is called the world. Well, Persona has tarot cards, too, and every confidant has their own tarot card. Like, Ryuji is the chariot, and so that's, you know, you'll meet, like, every Persona falls under one of those categories. So, like, for example, there's a Persona called Thor, and I believe he's the chariot, if I remember correctly. And so, like, the higher you're confidant with that character, the more XP you can get for those confidants. So, you know, if I fuse a chariot Persona with Ryuji at rank 10, it'll get stronger because of that. But also, carrying around a Persona with that same Arcana will help you rank them up quicker. So, you know, that's a thing that's kind of important. And yeah, you know, definitely another thing that ties it to JoJo, because Persona to me is pretty similar to JoJo, and that's part of why I like it so much. But yeah, also I figured I'd mention that Ryuji is my favorite character, or maybe he's my second. He's my first or second favorite character, and he's the reason I say "What's bonkin" in the beginning of every video, is because he says that. He says it twice, like during a confidant like rank up. And yeah, he's just like, "What's bonkin'?" And he said he wanted to try something cool. So I thought it sounded kind of stupid and funny, and that's why I decided to start saying it.